Hello, dear friends. The strategy of the divine plan is the best kept secret in the universe, in order to avoid interference from the dark side. We only have signs and a few clues, but we are unaware of the bigger picture. Opinion piece. Apocalyptic times. Nepal is in chaos. Poland is on alert. Days of reckoning. France is in flames. Acceleration of events. Europe is a powder keg. Venezuela is surrounded. Changes in the old order. Strange historical moment. Don't listen the media alarm. Escalation in the Middle East. Let's start. The phrase apocalyptic times is defined as a historical stage characterized by the perception of a transformation of humanity or the established order, described through visions and prophecies about the end times. It means being in an era where social or political structures are perceived to be on the verge of transformation. In quotes, when you see these things beginning to happen, open your eyes and lift up your heads, because your redemption is drawing near. Luke 21:28. According to Michael Snyder, we are living in apocalyptic times, and we don't know what will happen in the coming months. We hope for peace, but today it seems that world leaders are leading us in the opposite direction. The war in Ukraine has been going on since 2022, and the war in the Middle East since 2023. But so far, no one has used the weapon of mass destruction. However, as these conflicts intensify, the likelihood increases that someone will decide to do the unthinkable. The speed at which world events move is staggering. They happen so quickly around the world that leaders keep talking about the need for peace, but the conflicts don't stop. This month, we have witnessed an unprecedented escalation of war in the Middle East. Recent events such as Poland's claim that Russian drones have entered its airspace are presented as pretext to intensify this war narrative. The episode evokes themes reminiscent of the sum of all fears, contrasted with a call for peace through strength, suggesting a high-stakes geopolitical game. All of this is happening at a time when we have just witnessed a blood moon eclipse, and the stunning parade of planets is aligning in the night sky. According to Forbes, we could see this parade of planets 2 hours before dawn for the next few weeks, and this phenomenon won't be observed again until October 2028. This current planetary spectacle show includes Jupiter, Venus, Neptune, Saturn, and Uranus. Last month, Mercury was part of this planetary show, but it has since disappeared from view. Saturn, Jupiter, and Venus are the planets that should be visible to the naked eye. Reflections. The truth is now undeniable, and people are awakening to the deceptions that have long perpetuated certain narratives. This awakening is described as the precipice that brings the dark side to a critical point where its grip weakens as more information comes to light. According to Nick Giambruno, changes in the world order are rare, history-defining events with enormous implications, both geopolitical and financial. We are living through one of these rare moments right now. That's why it's critical to ignore the noise, set aside the propaganda, and understand the true geopolitical landscape. Throughout history, millions of people have suffered economic losses, or worse, during recent world wars because they failed to grasp the bigger picture and take appropriate action. You are not crazy. Ascension is accelerating according to Vidya Fraser. If life feels more intense these days and you are experiencing emotions and events that are causing you a lot of stress, know that you are not crazy and you are not alone. We have simply entered an accelerated phase of ascension that's happening right now, especially for those on the fifth dimensional timeline. What you are experiencing is the intensity of the ascension energies that have been steadily increasing, preparing us for the eventual momentous shift to 5D, which could happen this year, or perhaps next. Venezuela. According to Ethan White of K-Stellar, sources close to the Space Force confirm that active signal interference is occurring on the northern coast of Venezuela. This only happens before tactical airstrikes. That is why the F-35s are stationed in Puerto Rico right now, less than 880 kilometers from Caracas. And they are not just on reconnaissance missions. These aircraft are equipped with air-to-ground bunker busters, electronic warfare suites, and hyper-encrypted communications that evade enemy listening posts. They are not here to scare anyone, but to strike hard when the green light is given. This isn't the war they told you about. It's not about drugs. It's about dismantling the trafficking corridors, the bioweapons testing routes, the narco governments, and the intelligence havens they have used for decades. According to Kim Klipstenstein, the US is considering additional options against Venezuela. Attacks could occur if Venezuela threatens US forces in the Caribbean, either by shooting down Venezuelan military aircraft or bombing Venezuelan military airfields. Last week, Venezuelan Air Force aircraft flew over US Navy ships approaching northern Venezuela. Europe. Europe is a powder keg, according to J.B. Shark. Self-hatred in Europe is dissolving traditional cultural ties. Mass immigration is exacerbating centuries-old rivalries. The simultaneous suppression of European national identities and the protection of foreigners creates a kind of multicultural dynamo that turns Europeans into something alien. A great awakening is spreading across the continent as a critical mass of citizens realize that Europe's unelected bureaucrats have done. France is on fire with the Block Everything protest movement. Riot police clash with French protesters as Macron's government hangs in the balance, according to Helena Carey. Spain calls on the EU to sanction Israel for its attack on Gaza. The Nepalese army takes Kathmandu as politicians flee by helicopter, worsening the chaos. USA. Steve Bannon criticized Trump's dinner with Bill Gates and Zuckerberg. Commentator Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at Utah Valley University. He was shot from about 200 meters away. Trump delivers an epic message after the death of Charlie Kirk, in quotes. These people are sick. To them, taking someone's life is nothing. We need a statue built in honor of Charlie, the great patriot who never gave up, never gave in, and never stopped fighting. Kirk was the co-founder of Turning Point USA, a non-profit organization that advocates for lower taxes. According to James O'Brien, Charlie Kirk was a defender of speech freedom and open intellectual debate. This action was intended to silence anyone whose voice might challenge the old world order. Curious. The Earth's mantle hides two lost continents, and its magnetism reaches far into space. AI isn't free. Artificial intelligence is no longer presented as a research project or an economic opportunity. It's presented as a fight for survival and global power, a modern Manhattan Project. NASA claims it may have found evidence of life on Mars. A rock sample collected by the Perseverance rover from a dry river channel could contain signs of ancient microscopic organisms at the bottom of a Martian lake. A surprising link between Star Trek and Apple. Long before tablets became a practical reality, Star Trek: The Next Generation featured characters using flat touchscreen devices called personal access display devices. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.